The tragic murder that created a real-life ghost story. Imagine a child, just a little girl promised a new life, a fresh start. She's coming from a world of uncertainty, yearning for a family, for love. But what if that promise turns into a nightmare? What if the new life she was given became the very reason her story, tragically, never truly ended? This isn't just a grim tale of abuse. It's a chilling real-life ghost story born from unimaginable cruelty that still echoes through a quiet Washington town. Hannah Williams died on May 11th, 2011, but many believe she never left. Section 1. The Girl Before the Ghost. Her name was Hannah Alamu, born in 1997, a tiny life blooming in the stark reality of an Ethiopian orphanage. For years, she knew only that environment, a transient world of fleeting faces and scarce comforts. Then, in 2008, a beacon of hope appeared in the form of Carrie and Larry Williams, a Christian family from the seemingly idyllic town of Sedro-Woolley, Washington. They adopted Hannah, offering her a future, a home, a chance at belonging. She arrived in America, a quiet, small for her age 11-year-old, speaking barely a word of English. On the surface, the Williams home looked like the picture of stability. There were 5 biological children already, plus another Ethiopian girl they'd adopted. A big house, a barn out back, a garden hose for watering roses. It seemed like a place where a child could thrive. Hannah, eager to connect with her new siblings, desperately wanted to learn English. She quickly discovered a love for peanut butter, a small joy in her new world. But she also found herself constantly battling the cold, a pervasive chill in the Pacific Northwest rain that felt far more biting than anything she'd ever known in Ethiopia. It was a cold that would tragically become a central character in her story. Section 2. The house rules. Beneath that veneer of normalcy, something sinister was brewing. The Williams family, it turned out, subscribed to a controversial parenting philosophy outlined in a book called To Train Up a Child. This book, popular in certain circles, advocated for extreme forms of corporal punishment, essentially promoting the systematic breaking of a child's will. And the Williams weren't just reading it, they were living by it. Their chosen instrument of discipline, a plastic plumbing pipe, wielded with chilling regularity. Children were beaten for the slightest infractions, a spilled glass of milk, chores done too slowly, even the innocent act of humming. But Hannah, the new arrival, the quiet girl who struggled with English, was singled out. Her treatment wasn't just discipline. It was torture. She was forced to sleep in the unheated barn, a brutal punishment in the Washington cold. Her showers were taken outside with the garden hose, even in the dead of winter. Food became a weapon. She was allowed only cold leftovers, if anything at all. Her head was shaved, ostensibly for lice that never existed, a humiliation that stripped her of her identity. She was made to wear only a towel, a flimsy barrier against the chill that permeated the house, where the thermostat was deliberately kept low. The physical toll was devastating. In just 1 year, Hannah lost an alarming 30 pounds, her weight plummeting from 108 to a skeletal 78. Neighbors, catching glimpses of her waving from behind the fence, couldn't help but notice. Her cheeks were hollow, her eyes, once full of quiet hope, now held a wisdom and sadness far beyond her 13 years. They saw a child fading before their very eyes, a silent scream in her gaunt frame. The house, once a symbol of promise, had become a prison, and Hannah, its most vulnerable inmate. Section 3. The night she died. The calendar turned to May 11th, 2011. Spring should have been in full bloom, but that night, the temperature dipped to a cruel 42 degrees Fahrenheit. Hannah had been outside for hours, a chillingly common occurrence in the Williams home. She was barefoot, dressed only in a thin tank top, utterly exposed to the unforgiving cold. Sometime that evening, she collapsed. She was found face down in the backyard, her small body cold, her heart having given its last beat. Paramedics arrived, desperate to revive her, performing CPR in a futile attempt to bring life back to her broken form, but it was too late. The coroner's report would later list the official cause of death as hypothermia and gastritis, a direct consequence of the prolonged starvation and exposure she had endured. The sheriff, however, saw something more insidious than a tragic accident. He listed her death as a homicide. Initially, the story was a local tragedy, a headline in the Sedro-Woolley paper, but the sheer brutality of Hannah's death, the heartbreaking details of her abuse, couldn't be contained. It quickly exploded onto the national stage, picked up by major news outlets like ABC, CNN, and BuzzFeed. The nation recoiled in horror. Carrie and Larry Williams were swiftly arrested. The trial that followed lasted a grueling 6 weeks, a harrowing expose of systematic child abuse. Testimony from the couples as surviving biological children and another adopted Ethiopian girl painted a chilling picture of daily torture. The jury heard how Hannah was routinely beaten with that plastic plumbing pipe, forced to stay outside in freezing conditions, and starved until her body simply gave out. The evidence was overwhelming, and justice, though painful, began to be served. Carrie Williams, the adoptive mother, was found guilty of homicide by abuse and manslaughter, receiving a sentence of nearly 37 years in prison. Larry Williams, her husband, was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to nearly 28 years. To this day, both maintain their innocence, claiming they loved Hannah, but the courts and the public saw a very different truth. Section 4. The ghost begins after the arrests and the trial. The Williams house stood empty for a time, a silent monument to unspeakable cruelty. Eventually, new tenants, perhaps on the way but the quiet didn't last. Soon, strange things began to happen. Lights would flicker without explanation. Doors would creak open and swing shut, seemingly of their own accord, with no draft to blame. It was unsettling, but easily dismissed at first. Then came the sightings. A little girl, standing at the foot of her bed, barefoot, her head shaved, a towel wrapped around her small shoulders. She never spoke, never made a sound, just stood there, a silent, sorrowful presence. Witnesses described her as looking sad, not angry, a poignant detail that only deepened the mystery. One family, unable to endure the persistent presence, sold the house for a fraction of its worth the very next year and moved away, desperate to escape. No one, it seemed, could stay in that house for longer than 6 months. The story spread, whispered from neighbor to neighbor, from parent to child. The address faded from memory, replaced by a new, chilling identifier. The town now simply calls it the Williams House, a name synonymous not with the family who owned it, but with the tragic spirit who, many believe, still calls it home. The house became a legend, a local landmark of sorrow and the supernatural, a place where a little girl's silent grief manifested in chilling ways. Section 5. 5 Eerie Truths. Whether you're a staunch skeptic or a firm believer in the spectral, there are certain undeniable truths that weave together the tragic reality of Hannah Williams with the haunting folklore that surrounds her. These aren't just whispers. They are the threads that bind her story to the very fabric of Sedro-Woolley. Truth 1. The abuse was real, documented, photographed. This isn't some urban legend born from thin air. The horror Hannah endured was meticulously chronicled by investigators and presented in court. Medical reports detailed her severe malnutrition and hypothermia. Police photographs captured her emaciated body, a stark and undeniable testament to her suffering. Court records, public documents, and extensive news reports paint a grim, factual picture of the systematic torture she suffered. This isn't just a story. It's a documented tragedy, making the subsequent hauntings all the more poignant. Truth 2. The house still creaks at 3 a.m., the same time Hannah died. This isn't just an old house settling. Residents, past and present, have reported distinct, unsettling creaks and groans emanating from the empty rooms at precisely 3 a.m. It's a chilling detail, given that forensic evidence suggested Hannah's death occurred around that very hour, in the frigid early morning hours of May 11th. Is it just a coincidence, or is it a spectral echo of her final moments? A sound that marks the exact time her spirit slipped away from her broken body? Truth 3. 3 separate families report the same little girl in the home. This is perhaps the most compelling piece of evidence for those who believe. It's one thing for a single person to claim a ghostly encounter. It's another entirely when multiple, unconnected families living in the same house at different times describe the exact same. Her appearance is consistent, her silent presence universally reported. It suggests a specific entity, a lingering consciousness rather than mere imagination or suggestion. Hannah, a later resident, also with the same name, and her son Jackson even described seeing this precise figure by their bed, a calm but chilling presence. Truth 4. The barn door slams on windless nights. The barn, a place of forced solitude and freezing punishment for Hannah, seems to hold its own restless energy. Residents have reported the heavy barn door, meant to keep animals in and weather out, slamming shut with a resounding thud, even on nights when there's not a breath of wind to stir the leaves. It's a sudden, jarring noise that breaks the night silence, a stark reminder of the cold, lonely hours Hannah was forced to endure within its walls. Truth 5. The garden hose lays coiled like a snake, exactly where she left it. This might seem like a small detail, but it's loaded with symbolic weight. The garden hose, the instrument of her winter showers, a tool of torture. Residents have reported finding it coiled in the yard, sometimes in an unusual, almost deliberate way, as if recently used or carefully placed. It's a stark, visual reminder of her suffering, a coiled serpent of sorrow, forever in the spot where it inflicted so much pain. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the town believes. Local kids, fueled by fear and morbid curiosity, still dare each other to walk the fence line after dark. The unspoken understanding is that no one ever truly wins that dare. The chilling history of the house ensures that. Section 6. Why she lingers. Why would a spirit remain tethered to a place of such profound suffering? The theories are as varied as the people who tell Hannah's story. Some say Hannah stays because justice, even with convictions, felt partial. Perhaps her spirit, so utterly deprived in life, seeks a form of peace or closure that prison sentences alone can't provide. She was denied so much, maybe her spirit simply refuses to be denied a voice now. Others believe she stays to warn the next child, a silent guardian against the horrors she endured. Is she a spectral sentry, hoping to prevent another innocent from falling victim to similar cruelty? Her quiet, sorrowful demeanor, as reported by witnesses, certainly supports this idea of a presence more mournful than malevolent. One psychic who visited the property offered a more ethereal, yet strangely specific explanation. She claimed Hannah likes peanut butter, a small, innocent joy from her short life, and still hates the cold. The psychic's advice: leave both on the porch and Hannah will not bother you. It's a heartbreaking image, a child's simple preferences spanning the veil between life and death. Skeptics, of course, offer a different kind of haunting. They argue that memory haunts harder than any ghost. The collective trauma, the indelible mark left on the community, the sheer emotional weight of what happened in that house, that's what truly lingers. The stories, the whispers, the fear, these are the real specters, they say. Either way, the house sells cheap, and no one stays long. The atmosphere, whether supernatural or psychological, is simply too heavy to bear. Section 7. Legacy Hannah Williams' death was not in vain, at least not entirely. Her tragic story, a devastating expose of systemic abuse and adoption failures, catalyzed significant change. Washington State, shocked by the details of her case, immediately moved to reform its adoption laws. Social workers who previously checked on adoptive homes only once a year are now mandated to conduct visits twice annually, a direct response to the oversight that allowed Hannah's suffering to go unnoticed for so long. The Williams case pushed for heavier screening processes for prospective adoptive parents, ensuring a more rigorous assessment of their suitability to care for vulnerable children. Hannah's physical grave remains unmarked, a stark and somber reflection of the anonymity she endured in life. Yet her name, Hannah Williams, lives on. It is whispered in every ghost story told in Sedro-Woolley, a cautionary tale, a chilling legend. Local teens, in a mix of bravado and genuine trepidation, still whisper her name like a dare. The legend goes that if you say her name 3 times at the fence line of the Williams house after dark, she might just wave back. It's a chilling thought, a testament to how deeply her story has permeated the local consciousness, transforming a tragic victim into a local legend. Hannah Williams died twice, once in a cold backyard, her small body giving out under unthinkable abuse, and once again in the relentless glare of national headlines. Her body left this world, but her story, her essence, her enduring presence stayed. Whether you believe her ghost walks the halls of that infamous house, or if only her memory and the collective sorrow of a community linger, the truth is stark and simple. A little girl was promised safety, a loving home, and instead found unimaginable cruelty. A quiet town, once defined by its peaceful charm, found itself embroiled in scandal and sorrow, forever etched into the national consciousness by a horrific crime. A house meant to be a sanctuary became a place of torture and, ultimately, profound grief. Hannah's story, in a way, never truly ends. It concludes wherever you choose to close the book on it. A silent testament to injustice, forever waiting for someone to truly listen to her story.